Flip to Mason. Good blocking. Left side. Cuts up the field. Flying towards the end zone. He's in. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Now, back to Willard and Dibs on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, it's Kevin Burkhardt on the call. That was the moment where you're like, okay, phew. Ugly game, but they got the pick and they got the score, and the 49ers are going to win the game. Little did we know that the Browns had 2 more scoring drives in them.
Oh, my God.
Still available in the fourth quarter of that game. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, and they still could have walked out of there with a win with a straight kick from Jake Moody.
I think that Stefanski wanted them to lose that game. And by them, I mean Cleveland.
The Browns.
What the hell are you doing in the red zone throwing the football when you eventually settled for the field goal that gave you the lead? But P.J. Walker on a bootleg, when all you have to do is run the football there, make the Niners use their timeouts, and put them into a more difficult spot. But instead, you dial up a run, and a bootleg run at that for a guy who's already thrown 2 picks, and you have him rifle one into the end zone?
That almost got picked.
It should have.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on, Stefanski?
Forget Stefanski. It's an epidemic around coaching.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. There's 3 things that are possible.
Madden.
1.
It's Madden.
Well, that kind of goes into one of my points.
All these coaches grew up playing video games.
Is it analytics? Is it fan pressure? Or is it machismo?
It's Madden.
Well, that's kind of like that's kind of machismo.
Well, it's a little bit of all of it.
Call it Madden-chismo.
I'll allow it.
I mean, what is this thing about go for it, go for it, go for it? Honestly, what are we? We're an hour and a half away from Brandon Staley being on display with his coaching. Watch this. He'll go for it on 5th down. He didn't even realize you're not allowed to.
I've been told that he's asked his punter to stay home.
I mean,
we're not going to be needing you. That's going to be a no for me on punting today, dog.
I'm only less upset at Kyle Shanahan. That's going to be a no from me, dog.
I'm officially addicted to that expression.
There's Brandon Staley live when someone said, you should punt.
And apologies to my 13-month-old daughter who heard that all weekend.
Good for her.
That's a no from me, dog.
When she crawls over to the houseplant, that's going to be a no from me, dog.
She
looks at me like, what's wrong with you?
It's really fantastic.
It's not 2 to 6.
It
really is.
It was just on the weekend. Anyway, 888-957-9570. Steve Kerr in a little bit over an hour, 5 o'clock. How about Kevin in Sunnyvale? Hey, Kevin, what's up? You're on with Willard and Dibs.
Yo, what's up, man? You guys can hear me good?
Yeah.
We got you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Lifelong Niner fan. I've been through the struggles. Troy Smith, Tim Rattay, Sean Hill, all that, you know?
Good Lord.
Speaking of you guys talking about Madden, I have 2 things, man. They had Brock Purdy at 73 overall to start off the season. Now they only have him at 82, and they have Dak Prescott at 87. I don't know about that. But what I call for is, now that I'm looking back at the game, I kind of wish the Browns scored a touchdown so we can see. I almost trusted Brock Purdy more to go all the way down the field, and it was almost a missed opportunity to see that. Of course, I wanted to hit the field goal and everything, but what do you guys think about that? I almost trusted Brock Purdy more to get us down the field when push comes to shove. I think he would have got it done.
No way to know, obviously, Kevin, but I would just say this. That's just rarely the way coaches play things at the end when you're the Browns, and a field goal is enough. You're going to take that. Turnovers become much more likely when the field starts to squeeze down there at the end. And if you're suggesting that, the Niners should have opened it up more on that last drive, I realize you're not saying that based on a 2-point deficit, but if the deficit was higher, I just think a lot of people came away from that drive, Dibs, you're one of them included, who wanted to see the Niners be a little bit more aggressive, push a little further, and I'm sort of like, once you get into clear field goal range, once you're inside the 30-yard line, I think you've got to be comfortable with your kicker. And if you're not, you got the wrong kicker. I get, what would Brock have done? I don't know. Quite frankly, it was a day that felt like the mistakes were a lot easier to find than the dimes for all parties involved.
Agreed, but I do think that when you talk about comfort, yes, you're comfortable from 41 yards, which is why you let the clock run down from 45 seconds all the way down to 9 seconds because you were comfortable, but could you be more comfortable? Can I get you into a 38-yarder? Can I interest you in a 35-yarder? Can maybe we slot you in for a 33-yarder? I'll get you out the door today. No fuss, no muss. But instead, we're comfortable from 41, and they were comfortable enough from 41. And you're right. You should be able to kick a 41-yard field goal in those conditions, which there was a tiny bit of a breeze. The field was not a swamp. There was no monsoon. And, it was a pretty comfortable kick. And it was from just about the middle of the field, slightly toward the right hash mark, but not hash marky enough to where you would call it a kick from the hash. It's a kick that he's got to hit 9 times out of 10, and hopefully he will. But the one time he needed it done, he didn't get it done.
Yeah, it's a Monster Monday. It's brought to you by First 5 California. To learn 4 things you can do to overcome toxic stress, go to first5california.com. We're talking out the Niners' first loss of the season and asking you what has your frustration the most today, whether it be Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Jake Moody, the defense, or the refs, or go off the board and pick something. Give us a call. We'll talk it out. How about Colin in Gilroy next up here on Willie and Dibby? Hey, Colin, what's cooking?
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man.
Hey, obviously it's a frustrating loss for all the reasons you guys have been naming all day. But the silver lining to it is we knew that loss was coming at some point in the season. You know that you have to face some adversity in order for you to actually grow from it and keep learning. And with a young quarterback, including a young kicker, they have to go through these things. Plus, there's also a burden of being perfect. I mean, the storylines have been, Brock hasn't lost a regular season game. Brock hasn't thrown an interception. No matter how calm, cool, collected he is, and I'm sure he is, at some point that almost becomes a distraction. So, you'd much rather go through this adversity in week 6 on the road in Cleveland rather than week 12, week 13 later on in the season when obviously the stakes are much higher and you're trying to fight for that home field advantage in the playoffs. So that's all I had on it. It is frustrating, but it's also week 6. And, with a silver lining, this is a learning point for all the young guys, including Brock and Moody.
Well, yeah, Colin, thanks for the call. I totally agree. Not in terms of, you ever want these things to happen, but the idea of an undefeated season is kind of like a no-hitter in baseball. When do you start paying attention? You're in the 4th inning, you're not like, you got a no-hitter going. It's not even halfway there yet. Once you're done with the 7th inning, okay, we're on alert. This undefeated season thing was not a thing yet. It's not a thing until you get to like week 14. And then you can start dealing with that. And quite frankly, I don't care. I don't want to deal with that. So in a weird way, by no stretch am I saying yesterday was a good thing, is super, super frustrating.
Sure.
But as far as this, like, oh my gosh, they're going to dominate everybody, they're going to score 30 every time, and they're going to go 17-0. No, they never were going to, and now we can stop thinking about it, get back to doing what you do and playing good football.
The loss of Christian McCaffrey for however long it's going to be, and we don't have yet an official word, but that to me was more of a negative than the loss of the perfect season yesterday, because the caller was right. You're going to lose at some point. I do think that 5-0, you can talk about an undefeated season because you're 5-0, and it's great to be in that spot where you could be one of the teams to have that conversation. And now the Miami Dolphins from 1972 are popping bottles like usual because there are no more unbeatens. The Eagles were the worst loss to the Jets, in my opinion, than the Niners lost to a Cleveland team that looks to be better than the Jets.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, very similar stuff for both the 49ers, the Eagles. You saw what the Bills went through last night. And my gosh, the last play of that game, that was pass interference. I don't know how many times in a row you can call it, but these games got really ugly, and it was really difficult for people to move the ball yesterday for whatever reason. Like the Bills, think about this: the Chiefs scored 19 points, the Bills scored 14 points, the Eagles scored 14 points, and the Niners scored 17 points. Those 4 teams, considered by many to be the best 4 teams in football.
Yeah.
Nobody got to 20 yesterday.
Well, you're leaving one team out that was getting beat 14-0, and then the
Miami Dolphins.
They slipped the fitch,
Yeah,
or they flipped the switch, whichever one you prefer.
They're playing Carolina. at
Well,
home.
but still, that game was, following the pattern of every other good team yesterday.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they threw a little cold water on themselves and came to life in a big way, but they were trending toward doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's weird stuff, man. The Lions, by all accounts, I mean, for me, of all the top teams, they're the most impressive yesterday. Going on the road, Tampa Bay is, I don't know, are they good, bad, somewhere in between? They got a decent defense, and the Lions have always been a team that couldn't play away from home, and they now have yesterday's win. They've won at Lambeau this year.
They're 3-0.
They've won at Arrowhead this year. Like, that is a real squad. Let's go to Jonathan in the city here next on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Jonathan, what's up?
What's up, guys? What happened yesterday? I charged that to any given Sunday happened yesterday. You mentioned, the Jets, Robert Saleh doing the Niners a big so to keep up with the standing. Even the Bills almost lost that game last minute. I know that Moody missed a cheap shot field goal kind of because they even placed that thing right in the middle. But what's glaring to me yesterday is that you gotta give it to Cleveland, man. Cleveland defense played a monstrous game, man. No quarterback in history would have a clean game, a good day yesterday because, man, they were up in his grill right after the snap of the ball. So there's nothing really you can do about it. But it's a positive that even though that was happening all game long, Brock Purdy was still able to harness, a drive to put them in position to win. But then it's good that they lost the game, man. Do we really expect them to win all the games? No, but this loss is going to serve them good. We need this loss. Everybody needs to experience this loss to get better. Like I said, I don't want my Niners to be picking too early, so this is good. Let's go Niners, man.
Jonathan, thanks. Appreciate it so much. Yeah, it's never a good thing, and but when you look at when a loss can happen and a way that a loss can happen and what the rest of the league is doing while you're losing, this ended up being something that I don't think it ends up hurting you that much. Like, it's a loss,
yeah,
so that hurts because it shouldn't have happened, but those happen at least a few times throughout the year to every team. With the Eagles losing, with the Seahawks losing, and again, the scenario of the Browns defense and the elements and all of those things, it's just like, again, frustrated, not concerned.
Yeah, it's a loss, and even if you want to call it a bad loss, it's not a devastating loss. It's a loss that happened out of conference. It's not a divisional loss, which is, a situation you look at where those losses tend to be more painful when you lose in your conference and in your division. The one thing that I'm a little bit troubled by in terms of how that thing played out, because Cleveland's defense was great. They were the best unit on the field. But I look at Kyle Shanahan and adjustments. So you lose McCaffrey and you lose Debo, and your second half drives by yardage, 0, -12, 0, 0, 8 touchdown on a very short field, -1, and then you finally get the 52-yard drive and the missed field goal at the end of the game. They were unable to do anything in the second half. And, part of it was the offensive line was getting overwhelmed by Cleveland, but Kyle Shanahan, laminated play sheet, find a solution here, find a way to be able to move the ball, use your tight end a little bit. He got targeted twice. Once was on a penalty.
Well, I keep hearing that one, and I get it. I get the way the box score looked. But I have a hard time when people go, wow, your line's getting dominated, use George Kittle more. Well, there's a reason that they didn't use George Kittle more is because their line's getting dominated.
Yeah, you could go tight end, quick pass, or tight end screen.
Yeah, you could. I mean, they were holding him back so that he could help with blocking.
Right.
Because they were getting schooled.
They were, but when it came to the pass attack, it was basically a ton of Brandon Ayuk. Like, Brandon Ayuk, it felt like, was the only one in the pattern at times because you had to go max protect. And I don't think that Kyle Shanahan believes that he can throw the ball to Jordan Mason. Eli Mitchell, he looks like he's a step away from being a step away. So I do understand personnel-wise he was pretty hamstrung by what he could do, but he didn't. I mean, the passing game was basically, we're going to throw it to Brandon. and that wasn't working out.
Yeah, well, I mean,
they were all over him.
Your other three targets were kind of compromised in that two of them were hurt and one of them was helping to block. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I also think there were a number of times out there where when they did try something else, even if it was probably well-designed, it was not executed correctly. They had the play where Brock rolled right and was going to throw back to Ray McLeod. This is a play that Kyle Shanahan, right? Kyle's used this play before.
That was Keystone Cops.
And it's a play that has, at times, they used to do it with Richie James, and it's a play that at times has flipped the field and really had a big effect on the game. And they ran right, and Ray's out there running into people, and then Brock is throwing the ball 3 yards too short. The whole thing just, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
This is
Trent blew that play up by colliding with Ray, and I don't know if Ray was supposed to be further back, but when you look at the second replay and you see Trent Williams run out there to block and he basically just blows Ray off his feet, it's like, this is probably not going to be their day.
This is not quite what we're looking for. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Every single thing that the 49ers attempted to do or that they were planning to do got met with two other things that got messed up that you couldn't see coming. And that's why, I sat with this, that video that I did after the game. I waited for about 2 hours because the game ended and I'm like, I need a breath to figure out. It's almost like you ever watch a movie or you go to a musical or something.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can't tell if you really loved it until the next day. You wake up the next day and it's like you're still on your mind, or if the music, you're still kind of humming it in your head. I was like, I got to get away from this one for a second because I got to figure out what it actually was that I really want to point to that I think was the deal. So I get away from it for 2 hours and I come back and I go, yeah, it's still everything. It's everything.
Yeah.
Yes, you got dominated on the lines. Yes, Kyle Shanahan made some calls that I found to be head-scratching. Yes, you lost two important players. Brock had his worst game as an NFL player, and Jake Moody missed a kick, and I was still mad at the refs, too, for some ill-timed calls that should not have gone the way that they went. So you add all of that up, and in a way, I think it's a good thing for a 49er fan because instead of some glaring weakness,
right?
I just think you chalk this up to everything was out of whack yesterday.
Yeah, you got beat.
Yeah.
Cleveland, they beat you, and you were out of whack from the beginning of the game when you went out there and you were getting into skirmishes with Cleveland, and they goaded you into it. And I still haven't heard definitively what the reason was. I did see a video somebody sent me on Instagram that the Browns trolled the Niners by doing their walkout routine with the boombox and the music. So the Browns clearly were trying to get under the Niners' skin, and they did. And I don't know if that affected the way that Debo and Ayuk played. I know that Trent Williams came in and kind of cleaned up in the pregame skirmish, which is pretty funny. He comes in and just pushes like 5 people at once.
Don't you feel sometimes when this stuff happens, like Trent Williams is kind of just like the boss of the NFL? I remember the Thursday night game when he got into it with a bunch of other players in the Giants game that was here at Levi's. Trent Williams, these are all humongous human beings.
Right.
They're all alphas, but Trent is the boss. When Trent shows up, it's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, never mind, because I feel like he is the biggest, strongest, baddest dude out of all of the big, strong, bad dudes.
And he's got that old man strength, and he definitely has the OG status. So when he comes in and starts pushing these youngsters around a little bit, it quiets things down in a hurry.
888-957-9570. We're taking your calls all afternoon long on this 49er loss. Twitch and YouTube and the chats, everything going on there. Keep that coming. We're having a good time with all of it. And Steve Kerr joins us in less than an hour at 5 o'clock. Guess who's on the line? One of your favorites.
Oh, who?
Guess who's on the line?
I can't tell.
Phil, Mo.
Oh, let's go.
Mike is in the city. Phil, Mo, what are you doing?
Oh, man, I thought y'all was going to commercial. Hey.
No.
I'm going to keep it real. Just one thing to know. Y'all don't have that little, I think people be getting a little glitch because y'all don't have that little, there used to be a noise that was made before you got on air. Y'all don't have that. But anyway, that's why people be like, hello, can y'all hear me? But anyway, I'm kind of glad
we kind of lost this game. I'm kind of glad because you kind of killed two birds in one stone. You killed a bird of, is Moody ever going to miss a field goal? Boom, that's out the way. He got that out the way. You feel me? That little jinx thing where, you ain't missed a field goal all year. You get to the first round of the wild card game, and then somebody missed a field goal. So that's out the way. That's actually a good thing. Another good thing is Purdy playing bad. Purdy playing bad and the Niners losing. We don't want to get to 16-17. Again, you play all these games and you pull a New England Patriots in 2009. We wouldn't have wanted that. We wouldn't have wanted that at all. That would have been very ugly. And then my last one was not Dibs, but Willard. Where were you just talking about before I got on?
I don't know, something. 49er game? I don't know. What were we talking about?
No, you had just mentioned something that I was basically going to. No, I was going to say I'm kind of happy they lost, man. I'm kind of happy they lost because I'm kind of happy on this line. You get too big headed when you don't lose. You don't go through. You know what I'm saying? You don't go through whatever they were trying to get to, but if you don't go through it, you kind of feel like, hey, you know what? This may be our year. No, it gives a coaching opportunity for the coaches, for everybody to look themselves in the mirror and say, you know what? It's more to do. San Quinn had a great line. He said, what's up, love? What's there to do? It's more to do.
Hey, Philmo, I'm feeling everything that you're saying. We love it when you call. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of those dumb things that we say once it already happens. I'm aware of that. It's a little hindsight is 2020. Nobody sat down yesterday and went, you know what? I really think this would be fun if we lost. Be great if the Niners lost. Be great if Brock Purdy played bad. Be great if he'd throw a pick. And it'd be great if Jake Moody had an opportunity to win the game with a field goal and he missed.
Yeah.
That would all be great. But when you get through all of that, there is this certain anxiety or tension that goes away, which is to say, you don't have to worry about some of this extraneous stuff. You realize that it didn't matter to you as much as maybe you thought it did. I was never under the impression they were going undefeated. I was never under the impression Jake Moody would never miss a kick. I was never under the impression that Brock Purdy was not going to throw an interception all year or that he would never lose a game in his career. All of those things were going to happen, but you start to think about them when you start going 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 games. Sure. So now it's all happened. It all happened on one day. You lost by 2 points, so move on. It doesn't matter unless you go lose again.
Right.
You lose again on Monday, we're going to come in and we're going to have a very different
conversation. You lose again on Monday, it's a whole different ball of wax because then you'd be 5-2 and you probably won't be the number one seed in the NFC anymore. And I'm just, taking off of what Phil Mo said, all of you who've been saying, Brock Purdy's never lost a game. Well, now you all can stop that because he's actually lost 2 games according to the stats, but now he's actually lost a game where he started and finished. Yep. So now we don't have to worry about perfect Brock, and he's thrown a pick, and he's lost a game, and they've lost a game, and Moody's missed a kick. So if you're looking at all of that as a positive takeaway, because now we don't have to worry about 17-0, that is one way to look at it.
They're human, and we were all reminded that they're very, very human.
And they play against other professional football players every Sunday.
Yes, they're paid and good and athletic and all of that stuff.